Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, bringing you all professional wrestling's news, notes, innuendos, and whatever else you can come up with in this fantastic world that we call pro wrestling. Whew. Whew. I'm trying to catch my breath from all the wrestling from the weekend. There was so much wrestling. Oh my God, how amazing was that? Was that not one of the greatest weekends of all time? First off, if you're a wrestling fan and you weren't into this weekend, I've heard people bitch about the shows. I've heard people do their tribalism stupid crap. I've heard it all. If you didn't enjoy yourself having wrestling this weekend, I got nothing for you whatsoever, okay? Nothing whatsoever. So, also, welcome to our Monday, by the way. And I know what you're thinking. All 10 of you are like, hey, wait a minute. We don't do Monday shows on our lovely Slow Burn. That's right. We don't. We normally do Tuesday shows, but I brought you a live yesterday, which has gotten a lot of hits, by the way. Thank you very much for that. But I did a live yesterday and I said, we are going to do a Monday show with a week in review rather than the Sunday show because we still had another big one to get through. And I still needed to finish a couple other things up. So, I have finished. Last night is finished. The weekend is finished. And now we're getting ready for Monday Night Raw tonight. Because as soon as you get done with one, the next one starts right back up. However, this week, a little more low-key than what we had this past week. This week, normal stuff except for TNA pay-per-view Slammiversary is what we're dealing with on Sunday. So, and we'll talk all about that. But guys, we got a lot to talk about. Again, thanks for yesterday. I was all day thinking, like, how am I going to get this in? Would it be right to do the Evolution show, put it on the other week with the week in review and blah, blah, blah? And I thought, you know what, the hell with it. I just want to sit back and I just want to do 1 week in review. I want to move on from it because we have been so busy. So this is what we're going to do. All right, in today's show, I'm going to do my normal recaps, but I'm going to try to do some condensed versions. Most of this show will be focusing on All In, though, as you can probably guess, all right, because that's where we're going to start everything. But I do want to get to All In. I definitely want to get to NXT's Great American Bash. We'll talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about Saturday night's main event. It wasn't as bad as what I was expecting it to be, okay? And then last night's Evolution, it hit. I know the ticket sales probably weren't quite what the WWE had wanted. I'm not a man that worries about ticket sales. I'm a man that worries about a wrestling show, and that wrestling show was fantastic. So lots and lots of stuff to do. And then I also want to do our week in review, okay? And our week in review had a lot of special stuff with it, so I'm sure, as you can see, maybe some stuff people want to argue with me about on my week in review awards this week. But folks, All In. Let's get to it. Let's just jump right in. This is the AEW flagship show. You know, I know that not everybody that listens to the Slow Burn are AEW guys, just like I know not everybody that listens to the Slow Burn are WWE guys, TNA, New Japan, whatever. Well, if you missed All In, I urge you to please give it a shot. Even if you just fast forward the crap just to watch wrestling matches. What you would have saw is one of the best damn wrestling shows that you could possibly see. Now, was it long? Yes, it was long. I started watching the pre-show right at noon. The show itself didn't get over until 8 o'clock, you know. And in reality, my whole plan of how I was going to watch stuff kind of got thrown up in the air as well. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter whatsoever because the show was that good. The setup, how they did it it's at Texas Rangers baseball stadium there, down in Arlington, in Texas. I mean, the way the setup works, it didn't look like it was an empty stadium by any means. It looked like a full stadium show. I know that they said, well, there was a lot of space. Well, no shit. It was a stadium show. Any stadium show that's done like that, on the floor, there is a lot of space. See what the WWE does at MetLife coming up here in a couple weeks for SummerSlam. You're going to see the same type. And again, I'm not downgrading anybody or anything for that. That's just how a stadium show is set up. I thought this whole thing was great. The crowd was great. The stadium setup was great. The wrestling was great. This show was absolutely wonderful. As a matter of fact, I scored this show an A. I will say I haven't gave an A since the Royal Rumble. I'm aware of that. So this is some big to do, just so you know. We'll go ahead and get it out of the way. It's show of the week. It won the award for show of the week. I'm sure you probably figured that was going to be the case anyway going into it. But guys, the whole thing actually absolutely hit. Was there some bad moments? Absolutely. They mainly happened in 0 hour. All right. Speaking of which, 0 hour. I want to go over these results. I always go over the results. That's why I'm doing this. We had the Sons of Texas over Shane Taylor Promotions. Had the conglomeration along with Big Boom AJ. They went over the Don Callis family. By the way, Big Justice got shoved down by Trent Beretta. One of my early highlights of this show. Really, really got into that. And Tony Schiavone, Tony Schiavone, he's just a kid. That's just a kid. Was it? Was it just a kid? That kid's freaking gigantic. Um, and then we also had the FTR over the Outrunners. I wanted to mention this because just a couple weeks ago on Collision, I gave this match such props. FTR and the Outrunners. This second time going at it was not quite as good. But here again, the Outrunners have never wrestled in front of a crowd like this. This is a completely different ball game, and so the match was still good. It just wasn't as good as what it was a few weeks ago. So outside of my Big Boom AJ having a match and the FTR Outrunners match not being as good, you're going to get very little negativity from me on the rest of the review of this show. It's just how it is. Okay. What did we have? The actual show itself got going with the trios titles. Um, almost considered this still a part of 0 hour. It kind of was almost still a part of 0 hour, even though any of the online resources that you look at the card, it's still listed as main card. But you did have the Ops versus the Death Riders for the trios belts. This was a fantastic match. Matter of fact, it was kind of great. I especially love the Samoa Joe, Gabe Kidd stuff. I really, there's some possibilities of single stuff there. Now, I also was very happy with the fact that the Ops end up going over here and keep these trios belts. The more you read, the more you hear that the AEW want to bring a little bit more attention back to the trios belts. I think there's an opportunity to do that. I'm just not exactly sure that it can be started with the belts being on the Ops, because that's going to be a really hard team for anyone to beat. An outside chance of beating them would have been the Death Riders, because you have a couple monsters there too, and Gabe Kidd's a psychopath. So that's my only issue with that is like how does the trio division itself start working out now that this is the direction that we're going to continue to go in? And I don't say that as a negative. I say that as somebody that's ready to see the story. I'm ready to see the direction that we go in it. So we shall see. So the match itself wasn't bad. Again, my biggest note was Joe versus Kid. Give me Joe versus Kid. Okay, I need more and more of that. I hope that this isn't a rental, by the way, but I almost guarantee you, and I've talked about this before, with Forbidden Door coming up around the corner, I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of Gabe Kidd up until Forbidden Door, and then, oh man, I got the yawns. And then he'll ride off into the sunset or whatever. So MJF, he wins the Casino Gauntlet. By the way, I had some questions on the Casino Gauntlet. I had a private message sent to me about how people were confused about that. It's different intervals. You got people called down, much like in the Royal Rumble, except for in Royal Rumble, it's every 2 minutes, whatever. With the Casino Gauntlet, every so often people get called in. It could be 30 seconds, could be 10 seconds, could be 5 minutes. You're getting somebody called in, random numbers, okay? The second somebody gets pinned or submitted in this match, that's when the match is over with. So that's why it's important to be early in this match rather than late. So in a normal gauntlet, you want to be late. You don't want to have to go through the whole gauntlet, right? In a Casino Gauntlet, taking a turn of like the Royal Rumble the way it does there, but yet also taking the turn of like a gauntlet match. So that's why you want those early numbers. And MJF, he had the big number. He had number 2. So him and Mark Briscoe started off talk about guys starting it off violent. That the whole thing here worked. The whole thing hit, actually. MJF won. I actually said in my prediction that I predicted a Jay White return. I didn't get that. I did get a Juice Robinson return, though. So, super happy about that because anytime the Juice is on television, television is better. Um, Now that I look back on this match, I realize how damn great it was. I put some notes here. There were some big hits here. The biggest hit for me personally was Juice, even though Juice did not look like the same person. If you've seen him before without beard and without the crazy hair, you'd be like, hey, that's Juice Robinson from NXT, even though his name was different back then. That's not Bullet Club Juice by any means. However, the whole thing absolutely hit because we got to see him come back and get his moveset in. Gave everybody a quick reminder just who Juice was, even though you might not remember that face, or now there actually is a face underneath that beard. So Juice hit. The MJF Briscoe stuff was phenomenal. Mystico and every part that he hit in was phenomenal. Loved the fact once again that the song was hitting, not quite as loud as it was in Arena Mexico, but still very, very awesome. Uh, Loved Ricochet in this match. I thought Ricochet was phenomenal in this match. Bandito was phenomenal in this match. The Takeshita Bandito stuff together, they got that moment inside the match together. The crowd pops for them, kind of give them their props from the night before. What we got out of them at the Super Card of Honor. I talked about how amazing of a match that was too. By the way. There were some misses in the match. I thought there were some timing issues, but you're going to get that kind of stuff. The weird thing to me though was there was timing issues outside of the ring. And the way the camera was kind of working at times, you saw some of that where it would kind of slow down at times. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be fighting. I thought there was a little bit of that on the outside of the match. But here again, you're going to get that type of chaotic stuff going on in a casino gauntlet match. It's just how it is. Um, Big props goes to MJF. Won it the way a heel should win it. The slide in work to kind of get it done. Man, I thought the whole thing really worked. I think that we're not done with MJF and Mark Briscoe, which is what I put down here in a note. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Now in the pre-show, guys, we found out very quickly that Adam Cole, and my prediction was that Kyle Fletcher would beat Adam Cole, but we found out that Adam Cole had a medical issue, and that now the match was going to turn into a fatal four-way with Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, and the natural Dustin Rhodes. So going into this, I'm immediately thinking, well, Kyle Fletcher's going to win this thing hands down. What I found out right away is that Adam Cole would have won this match because they didn't put the belt on Fletcher. Now, with that said, who wins the belt? The natural Dustin Rhodes. All I can say is awesome. I would have lost the farm on this one if you would have had me bet on it, but it doesn't mean that I'm pissed off about it. It was unbelievable. The whole match was great, and congratulations to Dustin Rhodes getting singles gold back on. This dude's going to look like Mercedes Moné. He's going to have so many damn belts coming up soon. So, that whole thing was absolutely phenomenal. I put all kinds of filler, yeah, all kinds of thriller the whole way through. It was great. Dustin Rhodes definitely. And by the way, match thrown together like that, fatal four way that fast, Dustin was calling that bad boy inside the ring, and just to appreciate that art form. So well done. And Adam Cole, man, get well soon. They're talking like this may be career ending, and I hate this because I was just saying the other day, if you give a chance to Adam Cole, you let him run with it, and this whole thing really sucks. So and that was raw emotion when Adam Cole came out and told the crowd, this is the way it is, and I'm sorry. So yeah, tough spot. But you know what? This is what these wrestlers do. They put their bodies on the line for us as fans, and I appreciate it. So that brought us a tag match. Wow, Swerve and Will Ospreay look like they have been tagging together pretty much their whole lives. They take on the Young Bucks. Winner of this match, a little different stipulation. If the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP titles. If Swerve and Ospreay lose, they're not allowed to challenge for the championship for 1 year. I have nothing negative to say about this match. There is nothing negative to say about this match. Every part of this match worked from beginning to end. The entrances were amazing. JoJo Offerman singing with Swerve. If you don't know who JoJo is, that's the wife of Bray Wyatt. There is a connection there with JoJo and Bray and Swerve and the whole nine. So nice to see that. The Bucks entrance as the founding fathers in the boat swimming. I mean, just that whole thing worked. The Bucks gear was great. You had the new Assassin's Creed stuff for the entrance for Osprey. Like I said, from beginning to middle to end, there was zero part of this match that didn't work. And the other thing I wanted to say here is it's damn time we start giving the Young Bucks their props about being one of the greatest tag teams that's ever lived. The stuff they do, the timing stuff they do, the special attraction moves that they do. There are very few tag teams that can do the work that Nicholas and Matthew Jackson can do. Period. Done. When you talk about the greatest tag teams of all time, you talk the Dudleys, you talk the Hardys, you talk the Road Warriors. Those are your teams that we get out there. Your Mount Rushmore of tag teams. It's about time we start throwing the Young Bucks into this conversation with the Rock and Roll Express, with the Midnight Express, with the Rockers, with the Hart Foundation, with the British Bulldogs. It's time with the New Day. These guys deserve to be in that discussion. They are that damn good. So that was the main thing. Now, Osprey and Swerve, they win this match because, like I said, they look like they've been doing this forever. This match had more false finishes than any tag match I can remember in forever. And at the end of this, they had me going. Like I kept saying to my wife as this is going on, because, oh my God, they're going to win this match. Well, now that happened, they're going to win this match. And I probably changed my mind like 6 times at the end in the last 7 minutes of this match. Just unreal. Well done. Tip of the hat. That's how a tag match is supposed to be done. And you don't always have to have the flippy spots. And that was proven in this match. Now, if you do have it and it's done well and it's done right, like it was in this match, I mean, why not? And the people that want to argue that shit, watch this match and tell me that match isn't a damn classic. Now, again, if I was somebody and I was going to put stars on this, I would definitely put 69 stars on it. But for me, if I'm grading it, we're going A plus here all the way, all the live long day. We got to keep going. I'm going to run out of time fast today, guys, and I knew this was going to happen. Athena wins the gauntlet. She wins the female casino gauntlet match. This match was so good. As I said, it was a pleasant surprise. There was no way in hell I thought that Athena would win this match at all. I thought that we were probably getting a Megan Bain win or a Chris Statlander win, something of that sort. Who did I even pick? Who did I pick was going to... Oh, I didn't do my picks on that, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. Women's Gauntlet. Oh, I picked Willow. That's right. I picked Willow, who, by the way, probably put on the best show of anybody, but she was a little outnumbered when it came to the heels versus the Willows. But Athena won, and I was very happy, especially with the appreciation the crowd gave Athena. And I know she's a Texas girl, so she's going to get a little bit of pop there, but well done. The way it was done was perfect. The way that they navigated the big monsters in this match was perfect. What did I put in this? Lots of great stuff along with the chaos. So the whole thing, it hit for me. Tag match, guys. Man, oh man, I would have lost the freaking farm on this one too. I told everybody Hurt Syndicate was going to lose these belts. Wow, was I wrong. This was basically a glorified squash match. I really thought that from the other night with the Hurt Syndicate getting beat down, showing their vulnerability, showing that they are human, that they can actually take a hit, I thought that there was no way in hell. I thought they would show that vulnerability and kind of usher them into some single stuff. I should have known after MJF won that it was going to be the Hurt Syndicate's night. And like I said, what started up with them last week with getting some licks in is all forgotten now because they come across looking so strong. And honestly, after this, I don't know who beats them. FTR was on commentary. I guess we're going to get now Hurt Syndicate FTR piece. Now 2 heel groups. I mean, hell, and you can't tell me that they're not heels. MVP wore a hat that said heels. By the way, MVP rapping their own stuff. That was pretty cool, by the way, on the entrance. We hurt people. But yeah, the whole thing ends up just becoming a squash match. Glorified squash match is what I put on here. So this is what I ask. Now what? All right. The patriarchy, I didn't think would win this match anyway. I thought Jet Speed would come out on top here, but at the end of the day, we got Jet Speed got their asses kicked. Patriarchy gets their asses kicked, and the Hurt Syndicate come out looking stronger than ever. And honestly, uh, FTRs, they're not the team that beats them. It's going to take somebody like a monster team like Gates of Agony or something like that can come through with tag team experience and that monster ability. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I was very disappointed in that part, but what can you do? It's still getting an A. It's the only thing. It still gets an A. I don't like Bobby Lashley. Damn it, I don't like him. And when he's in a tag team, it's even worse for me. All right, I love Shelton Benjamin so much, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me. After this match, some pretty exciting stuff happens as Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian and Mama Wayne all turn on Christian of the Patriarchy. They take down the father, and they were beating the brakes off of him. And what I'm sitting here thinking was, Kill Switch is going to come out. All right, we're going to get Luchasaurus. He's going to come. He's going to save Christian. They're going to start that tag team back, and then we're going to move on. That's not what I get. Instead, I get on this day, and then here comes Cope, baby. We hadn't heard from him. That was so far from my mind. And Edge, Cope, Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar, makes the save on Christian. And I just got a glimmer of hope that I'm going to get Edge and Christian again, one of my favorite tag teams that has ever lived. You want to talk about some of the greatest tag teams of all time? That's one of them. Okay, I didn't even mention that group, but we'll see. At the end, Cope tells him, he's like, "I need you to find yourself," and walks away. So we'll see the direction it's going. I hope it's Edge and Christian together, man. I really do. Okay. Guys, I'm running out of time, and I get to these last three matches, the main event, and I just want to say that AEW did something with these three matches that is going to be hard to be duplicated by any wrestling promotion anywhere on any time, and that was put three A+ matches on, boom to boom to boom, and none of them miss. The Tony Storm Mercedes Moné match, to me, best women's match I've probably ever seen. It was unreal. I've never seen two women work together that way. When they miss, they hit. I mean, it was that damn good. Tony Storm comes out on top here. This is a main event at any other wrestling event in the whole entire world, without a doubt. But what you saw here was two people that are at the top of their craft, the highest level, doing things to the highest level. And wow, that's all I can say is wow. So Tony Storm over Mercedes Moné. We had Okada over Kenny Omega. I missed this one. I understand that. But once again, guys, all of the lead up to this stuff all worked, and it all was perfection. And then we get our main event. And we have Hangman Adam Page finally taking that belt out of the briefcase. Finally giving that belt back to us, the AEW masses, the people that have been here, and taking out that bully that is Jon Moxley and that are the Death Riders, with a little bit of help from our friends as Bryan Danielson makes his triumphant return, giving us a little help in the Blue Panther mask, mind you, and dropping from the heavens himself, Darby Allin, coming down. The little promo cut from Mount Everest, the drop down, the whole thing was perfect. Oh my God, the whole thing was perfect. Tony Storm and Mercedes, best women's match I've ever seen. Okada Omega doing what they've done so many times before. Now that they're going to have to do it again now, right? Okay, we're getting closer. Is it 2-2-1 now, I believe? 5 matches, 1 draw, 2-1 by Okada, 2-1 by Omega. Only makes sense. We've got to do another one. It only makes sense. Let's do it at Forbidden Door. Why not? And then obviously Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley in one of the best Texas death matches I have ever seen. It was not for the weak. All right. One of those things, my mother-in-law couldn't watch it. She had to turn her eyes away from it. When you see a guy get stabbed in the fucking head by a fork 9 million times to start the match within the first 3 minutes, you know something's going to hit. So, I gave the show an A. All right, I want to keep going with the other stuff, guys, or we're going to run out of time here. Great American Bash, I scored it a B. Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace win the main event over Fatal Influence. Obafemi beat Yokoshishi Imamura. That match was a hard-hitting affair. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, you should. I scored it a B. Saturday night's main event, scored it a B minus. The Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre stuff, that was great. I love seeing Jelly Roll get the Claymore. That was awesome. It was a hell of a bump too. So tip of the hat to Jelly Roll on that one, even though I hate this. Let's see, Joe Solo Sokoa over Big Jim. There's so much more of that to come. LA Knight over Seth. Seth Rollins takes an injury in the ring, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure we'll hear more tonight at Raw. Regardless of what you've thought about these storylines with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, looks like Seth may be missing some time. And regardless, that's a huge, huge glitch in the storylines that's going on over there at WWE. So we'll see what happens. But Seth, get well soon. Anytime Seth's out, it kind of sucks because the guy's a damn he's a masterclass anytime he gets in the ring. So LA Knight over Seth in a very abbreviated match because Seth looks like another knee injury. And then Gunther over Goldberg. You know what? It was better than I expected. All right. I'm a man. I give credit where credit's due, and I take it away when I have to. It wasn't as bad as what I thought it was, especially considering it had to go longer than what I thought it would because of the injury to Seth. So, tip of the hat. Gunther made that match, but you know what? Oldberg didn't look bad. And he might have even deserved a little bit more afterwards. So, credit where credit's due. Evolution last night, guys. Becky retains the IC belt over Bayley and Lyra. JC Jane keeps the belt over Jordan Grace because Blake Monroe went bad. She went heel. I literally said last night to my wife, she goes, "Hey, so what's the story with Mariah May? Is she good or bad?" And I said, her name's now Blake Monroe, and she's a good guy, but it's going to go away any minute. I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes away tonight, and then I'll be damned if it doesn't happen. That's because I'm the smartest man alive. What else do we have here? Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez over the Kabuki Warriors, over Charlotte and Alexa Bliss and Soul and Zarya. Great match here. This could go somewhere, and I don't think we're done with Charlotte Alexa yet either. So keep that in mind. We might see a little war heating up with Charlotte Alexa, Roxanne, and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm good with it. Tiffy, we had heel Tiffy. That was nice over Trish Stratus. Jade over Naomi. Pure violence. Stephanie Vaquer wins the battle royal, so she's going to get a shot at Clash in Paris at the champ, and then main event. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky was putting on one of the greatest women's matches I have ever seen. Tip of the hat to you ladies. Any other week, you're probably match of the week. Naomi cashes in and new Naomi champion. So we're loving that. There we go, guys. Tonight on Raw, we only know of one match. We're getting a gauntlet match. CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Penta, and Braun Breaker. The winner goes on to face Gunther at SummerSlam. So here we go, guys. Our week in review. This was so big. We're running out of time. Our match of the week. This might be match of the year, guys. Tony Storm over Mercedes Moné gets our match of the week with Swerve and Will Ospreay over the Bucks as our runner-up. Rhea and Io Sky would be up there as well. All right. But Tony over Mercedes, that's our match of the week. Promo of the week, Mark Briscoe on Collision. Love that promo. Braun Breaker on Raw was our runner-up. Our show of the week is AEW All In, with WWE Evolution being a close second. We gave it a B+. And then our moment of the week, guys, moment of the week, All In's main event. That's just, I can't pick a specific moment. That Texas death match, the way it all accumulated at the end, the story of it, Hanger pulling that damn baby out of the briefcase, the all-in main event does it for me. It's probably the only reason I didn't give it match of the week is because I give it moment of the week. My runner-up was Naomi cashing in and winning the women's title on Evolution last night. So lots of stuff. So again, match of the week, Tony over Mercedes. Promo of the week, Mark Briscoe on Collision. Show of the week, we got AEW All In. And our moment of the week was the AEW All In main event. Don't forget, guys, we got Raw tonight. Lots of stuff coming from Birmingham, Alabama. I will be back normal time tomorrow, bringing you our Raw recap. I may go over some other stuff that we had to gloss over today, guys, because you knew we had to go fast. Man, oh man, what a great weekend. I'm sure my wife and the rest of the people that are living with me right now are very glad that this weekend is over and that some more television can be had. But I got news for you. There's always wrestling and there's more coming. And I'm going to be here for every single bit of it right here on the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. I'm your host, Matt Brandon. And folks, remember, in this world, we're wrestling everything. Stay on top.